It's important to remember that your first session with your therapist is a mutual interview to make sure that it's a good fit to work together. So they may ask you a lot of questions about yourself, and you may find there's some good questions you could ask to help determine whether this person is a good fit for you. So one of the questions you might ask is, given everything you've said about what you want to work on, what did they think would be the most important thing for you to work on first? And secondly, how would they go about accomplishing that? So you can tell a lot by their answers to those things. Were they listening to what you said about what you want out of therapy? And do you really believe in their strategy for how to get there? Because there are so many ways to accomplish the same end result. But you want to work with a therapist whose style kind of matches the way you'd like to go about it. The third question I would suggest is to kind of give your therapist some feedback in the first session, which I know can be a little bit scary and hard for a lot of people. But tell them something that they got a little bit wrong when they said something. Maybe they reflected back to you what they heard and it wasn't quite right. And tell them something that was a little off. Give them some feedback. And I think this is just so valuable because you'll see in that moment whether they get defensive or whether they're kind of open to hearing the correction and flowing with really getting to know you. Because even though this is hard to do up front, in the long run, you're going to be doing some really deep, vulnerable, and personal work with them. And that would be one thing I would really, really want to know about a therapist is if they can take feedback and if they're responsive to you and they don't get defensive and able to kind of get into your world and flow without having to feel insecure. So a skilled therapist can adapt their style to work with a lot of different types of people and a lot of different types of presenting concerns. But really you want to see, is this someone you feel comfortable opening up to and that you really like? And there are many different therapeutic techniques and there's no one right way. But you want to find someone who's a good match for your values and you just believe in the system that you guys are going to engage in together and the relationship feels comfortable and warm. If it's important to you that your therapist be open about their personal life and have a very personal connection, then you may want to ask them a few personal questions, maybe why they became a therapist or what they feel differentiates them from other therapists, something that gives you a sense of whether they're comfortable talking about themselves as well and disclosing things that make you feel comfortable and connected. So in summary, remember, this is a mutual interview to make sure this is the right person to do some very deep work with. You may want to ask them, how do you think we should accomplish the work I want to do? To see if their approach matches your own value system. And also, what do they think you should work on first, just so they can reflect back to you a little bit of what they heard you say you want to accomplish, so you can make sure that they're a good listener and they really get it. And finally, you may want to challenge them a bit, just maybe if you have any feedback for them, it would be wonderful because then you could see if they respond really openly and it seems like they have an open heart and can take that in without getting defensive or hurt. I feel like that is one of the most important things to feeling like they can do deep work with you and you can be really honest. So you may come up with some other questions that would help you understand whether this person is someone you can feel comfortable and safe with, or you might just listen to your instincts on it, because really you want to feel, just is how you feel in the room with them is the bottom line. But I hope those questions give you a jumping off point to making this really important decision.